Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Perry Photo Challenge final presentation. My name is Hayden Hudson.
And I'm Skylar Witt.
We are students here at the College of Journalism and Mass Communications. And we have a saying here at the J School, which is do from day one. And being that we are in the class that is producing this show, we wanted to do just that by emceeing today's event. Now, we'd also like to thank faculty and staff for allowing us to be up here today as we share the photos brought to you by students. We'd also like to thank Mr. Phil Perry for his generosity and support. Because of him, students met here last weekend at Anderson Hall and had from Saturday morning to Sunday morning to capture a photojournalism story under this year's theme of making a difference. Tonight, the top 5 contestants will have 5 minutes to present their essays, and then we'll answer questions from our judges.
I would now like to introduce our judges, and if you could please stand to be recognized. First, Alan Shaben from Huntington Beach, California, staff photographer for the Los Angeles Times and co-JMC alumni. Next, Brianna Sokup of Portland, Maine, staff photographer for the Portland Press Herald and co-JMC alumni. Following Brianna, Kara Owsley of Cincinnati, Ohio, visual journalist and director of photography for the Cincinnati Enquirer. Then we have Mike Davis of Minneapolis, Minnesota, visual storytelling consultant, editor, educator, and author, as well as co-JMC alumni. And finally, Robert Cohen of St. Louis, Missouri, freelance photographer and Pulitzer Prize winner as part of the Post-Dispatch team in 2015. Thank you again to all of our judges.
Now I would like to introduce to you the man who needs no introduction, the co-JMC's very own photojournalism professor, Sean Hill.
So I want to again echo what Hayden and Skylar said. I want to thank Mr. Perry for basically all of this is his doing. Usually when I talk to the Perry contestants, I talk to them about the differences between the realism of photojournalism and the hands-on approach of taking portraits and commercial photography. This year, my message is a little different. It's not about the students just here in the room. It's basically to all journalism students. You have to diversify. In the world you're entering, being just a photographer or just a reporter is basically a non-starter. It's a luxury you can no longer afford to do. But what's that mean? If you're a reporter, stop waiting for a photographer, master the camera, learn how to capture the soul of a story in a single frame so your words have more meaning. If you're a photographer, do not hide behind the camera. Learn to ask the hard questions. Learn to basically write your own stories, okay? If you're a broadcaster, do not just stand in front of the camera. Master the edit. Become the architect of your own vision. If you're behind the camera, like some of you guys are, get out of your comfort zone and get in front of the camera. If you're a podcaster, don't just talk. Learn the art of the interview. The interview has moved, it has changed, it's no longer looking for specialists, right? It's looking for storytellers who can do it all. Whether you want to be indispensable to the newsroom or powerful enough to strike out on your own, a narrow skill set is a dead end. Being a journalist is a beautiful, grueling, and rewardingly difficult job. Every judge up here can tell you that this life is hard, but none of them would exchange it for anything else. So my final charge to you guys tonight is the world is loud and it's chaotic and it's moving faster than ever. To tell its stories, you must be sharper, you must be more, you have to diversify. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Before we introduce our 5 finalists, we would like to take a moment to thank some important members of our audience tonight. Firstly, we would like to recognize our scholarship committee, Sean Hill, Tiffany Grodelucian, Kate Van Loon, Zach Franzen, Sharon Baldinelli, Rachel Nausicaa, Jason Stam, and Alan Eno. Your hard work allows students to showcase the skills and talents that they have learned at this institution, and for that we deeply thank you. We would also like to recognize Jamie Wentz, Alan Eno, and his Broadcasting 369 class, who have created the video content and are currently live streaming this event. With both of us also being a part of Alan's class, we know the efforts put forth to produce and broadcast tonight's events, and we thank you. And also, thank you, Hayden.
No, thank you, Skylar. Oh. Okay, well, you got me blushing. I'd like to take this opportunity now to introduce our 5 finalists. We have Brady Cornelius, Alex Gryzanowski, Hannah Herrera, Michaela Maxon, and Amanda Yuan.
All right. Our first finalist will be Brady Cornelius, a junior ad PR broadcasting major from St. Paul, Nebraska.
Before I begin, I want to prefix that I have an abysmal presenter's anxiety. You should have seen me roughly 30 minutes ago. I was in a pretty rough state. But just as I have a fear for standing in front of a crowd for a formal presentation, the people in this story have a fear for where they will find their next meal. I know what you're thinking. Those are 2 completely different concepts. What do those have in common? Well, it's fear. Fear is what keeps humanity progressing, it keeps humanizing, and it keeps connecting. As scary as it sounds, fear is what keeps the human race alive. Why do we run from fear, though? Well, nobody likes the feeling of fear. We do a lot and take a lot for granted when surviving. The roof over our head, the stocked pantry at mom's house, and the financial stability provided by a job. Could you imagine not having these assets at your disposal? Matt Talbot, Kitchen and Outreach, although not able to provide some of these things, provides a hot meal for those who experience homelessness. People who don't have job stability, they don't have a roof over their head, and they don't have a guaranteed next meal. A lot of them live constantly in fear. But what I witnessed last Saturday was not just fear. It was courage. It was humanity and doing what humanity does best, connecting. At 11:30 a.m., the doors opened. Volunteers in the Home Depot orange aprons placed popcorn chicken in trays, slid rolls next to their neighbors' warm serving, and finally tucked a sweet cookie alongside to top off a delicious hot lunch. Volunteers and donors don't need to do this, but humans can't help but give back. The people who make the difference are the people who consciously make the decision to go above and beyond for the people who don't know, for the people they don't know. As a photographer, my job is not just to document moments, it's to humanize them. It's easy to walk past the building like Matt Talbot and think that it's and think of it as a place of service, a resource. But inside those doors, it becomes something much more substantial. It becomes eye contact, and it becomes someone remembering your name. Fear brought many of my guests there that day. Fear of hunger, fear of instability, fear of being unseen. But connection is what kept them there, and connection is what kept volunteers coming back. When I began this project, I thought I was documenting a meal service, and what I found instead was a reminder. A reminder that survival is not just about food, it's about dignity. It's about being acknowledged, and it's about community choosing not to look away. And maybe fear isn't something we are meant to run from. Maybe fear is meant to push us to step forward instead of stepping back, to serve instead of ignore, and to take a photograph instead of assume. I stand in this room anxious to present my story, but some of the people I photographed stood in line uncertain about tomorrow.
This story was very powerful. The images are beautiful. You had really nice moments. It showed that you were really thinking. I just wanted to know, like, the backstory. Was this a place that you knew about? How did you find it?
So I found it the day before the Perry Photo Challenge.
Nice.
My previous idea fell through, and so I couldn't do that. And so actually, I think it was the evening before I got in contact with like my mom, and I was frantic because I was like, well, I don't know what to do anymore. And then this kind of came up. I saw that they were doing this Saturday, the day of the challenge, and so I think they only do it every third Saturday, so it was a pretty lucky break. But yeah, and then I decided to just run with it.
Something I'll probably ask every person is, what do you take away? What did you learn from this experience?
I learned that there's not a lot guaranteed about the future. You don't know what the future is going to look like. You don't know what you're going to eat tomorrow. You might have an idea, but you don't truly know, which is quite philosophical, but that's kind of how I thought about it, because yeah.
And photographically, what, do you think your work grew because of this, and if so, how?
I think I did, because this was more or less one of my first times telling a story through, I guess, talking to a lot of the people there. And especially with homeless people, sometimes it's hard to talk to them. Sometimes they don't like to give answers, and like within the story too, you might notice like a bit of a lack of people eating their food, communicating or interacting with each other. And that's just because a lot of them don't want to be in pictures because they're scared of what people might perceive them as or see them as, which is pretty fair, because I don't think a lot of the public sees homeless people as equal, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of covers my question, which was, I thought you actually got quite a few people, and I was impressed with some of the backstory you had in the captions. I said that in the original judging, and I just, did you ask quite a few people before someone said yes, or did you get lucky, or we didn't get lucky?
It was a little bit more of a time constraint as well, because this was only like an hour lunch, and sometimes when you get talking to one person, like the guy in the very last slide, he talked my ear off for like 15 minutes or something. And I was like, oh, I kind of got to get going here. Got to do some other people. But yeah, their story still kind of hold throughout the photo story.
Yeah, that time constraint. Of course, I didn't really think about that, but of course the lunch is
it was only about an hour long. I was there before and a little bit after. They actually fed me lunch, which is nice. So.
I want to congratulate you for taking your courage to another level of going beyond your safe space. It's something that I had to overcome too. I used to be deathly shy. I still am when I get a microphone. But you've got their names. You met all these people eye to eye. People that you didn't know. You already had tackled that, and I want to applaud you for that. And your pictures had risen to the top 5 because of your interaction, and I hope this is something that you'll continue, and it gives you confidence in the future. And keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brady. I would like to introduce now finalist number 2, Alex Gryzanowski. She is a junior broadcasting and journalism double major from Plattsmouth, Nebraska.
Okay. Hello, my name is Alex, and obviously my presentation, my photo essay is probably not as intense as some of these other ones. It's a little bit more of like a lighthearted story, but I am really involved in the local music scene. I'm in a band. I'm a concert photographer. I do a lot of work in the local music scene. I'm at concerts every single weekend, and it's truly made a difference in my life. And so I wanted to take that experience that I've had and share other people's experiences and their own lived experiences through this moment. And so my first photo here is just about this guy performing, and I really wanted to channel an experience where you're in the audience and it feels like you're at the performance and you're getting a piece of what it's like to be at a concert in downtown Lincoln, especially because the Lincoln music scene is so important to the community. It's a big part of Lincoln's culture. There's concerts happening every single weekend. I went to at least 3 in this one night, and there was probably more happening that I didn't catch. But then my next photo, you can see the audience like just kind of experiencing that. I wanted to flip it so you can see a crowd shot, especially just because like crowd shots are a little bit harder for me to get, and it's a little bit more of a challenge just because there's not going to be light on them. And then just in this one moment, I was able to catch this beautiful moment of this couple just experiencing the music, enjoying themselves, having a great time, dancing, and just showing their appreciation for each other. And then also I have a bartender as well, just kind of having that same experience at the Zoo Bar, and it was just a really like intimate moment of him lighting up his lighter, just experiencing this moment and just really appreciating the music, and it's making a difference in his own life. And then I kind of traveled up to the Music Box, which is a little bit down the street, and their goal as a venue is to help artists with recording, help them with recording music, performing, like publishing the music, and it's funded by the city. And so here is Fuzz performing, and then you can see this guy's playing bass with the bassist while he's performing, and then you can see a little bit of like the mosh pit happening as well, which is kind of like not as like a traditional way like of sharing your experience at a concert. Like moshing is just like such an incredible experience, and I think these people just really had a great time at this concert. It's a really small crowd, and they're really just like taking in their community and their love for this artist as they're performing. And then you can see them just kind of really just appreciating the music, and I wanted to almost like get in the mosh pit and show these people enjoying the music and just showing their appreciation for the artist as well. And then finally, and then I also had this guy crowd surfing, which was so interesting to me, just watching like this small crowd of probably about like 100 people just enjoying the moment and then lifting this guy up, and they did it multiple times as well, which was really cool. And I loved being able to just like see like this guy having a great time while the band is still performing in the background as well. And I think it was just a really cool experience. Like I'm not a big metal music fan, but like just being at this performance kind of changed my perspective, and it gave me like a new appreciation for this as well. And then I kind of ended off the night at an EDM show at Duffy's, which is also a very historic venue in downtown Lincoln. I mean, like Nirvana played there before they blew up, which was really cool. I think 311 has as well. And I just really wanted to show this couple. They're married and they're both DJs, and I think that's really cool that they're just like sharing this moment on stage together while they're DJing, and it's not like a traditional like you're playing a guitar or singing on stage, but they're just making beats together, and I think that's really beautiful, and they're just like sharing this amazing moment together. And then finally, I wanted to wrap it up with this girl who's experiencing the EDM show, and you can see her like candy bracelets, which is like a tradition for that thing, and you can just see her emotion on her face that she's having a great time, she's dancing, and it's just a beautiful experience for her. And so yeah, local music is so important in Lincoln, and that was what I really wanted to capture, is the community making a difference in people's lives. Thank you.
Do you think that helped you tell the story? I didn't realize you were a musician, so.
I think that definitely did help me with telling the story as well. Like, I just started being in a band like a couple months ago, and it's just given me a completely new experience on what it's like to be a musician in Lincoln. And I've gotten so much support from the community alone, just like through the people I've met while going to concerts and meeting all these amazing people, taking their photos, and just like, it's been so cool. Like the support in the community is insane, and people are always so uplifting.
I had 2 questions, if that's okay. So the first question was, I've never shot in a mosh pit. So I was like, it seems like they would not be comfortable. But what was your take on it? Because you did say you wasn't into heavy metal music? That's the first question. And then the second question, if you could pick one photo out of these images, which one are you most proud of that you were able to capture?
Well, the first of all, like being in the metal like scene and shooting that concert was just a crazy experience for me. I was a little scared for my camera gear as well, because I was like, I don't want somebody to knock it out of my hand. So like while I'm taking these photos, I'm also like looking around, making sure like I'm not gonna get like hit. And I think that almost happened to me a couple times, so that was a little stressful, but I think it was worth it for the shots that I got. And I think it's just like a cool experience to see like the action between everyone in the crowd, because you don't really get that at like any other show. Like you can see like emotion on people's faces, but not like them like getting together and like moving around in that kind of way. And I thought that was really beautiful just to like watch, because I've never really seen anything like that before, as intense as it was that night. And then I think the photo that I'm proudest of is definitely the second photo of the couple dancing with the stars on their face, because I think that was just really hard to capture as well, just because the stars were also like a moving like light, and it just happened to like perfectly capture, like land on her face in like the right angle, and it just, I don't know, it just looks really, like I love the stars.
Same question. What do you feel like you learned from the experience, and both the experience and photographically?
I think I just learned more about like the support in the community. Like I'm already pretty involved in the local music scene, but like being able to like really pay attention to people's experiences and getting to know people that I've never met before was just amazing. And it just gave me like a newfound like appreciation for people in the local music scene. Like I was kind of emotional by the end of it, because I was like, this is just so amazing, just seeing all these people get together, and it was incredible. And then I also think I learned like photographically how to not edit my photos that much, because I feel like with concert lighting, it's always so like intense. Like you have harsh blue lighting, or it's super dark. Like at the EDM show, it was super dark flashing lights, and like I always want to just like edit those, or like edit more creatively. So I think it just really taught me to like take a photo and like add minor edits to it, and just shoot the photo like perfectly while I'm out in the field.
Well, first off, I love the story. When I went to school here, my husband lived in a house show house, so local music was something that I saw a lot. And I guess I was wondering, when you do concert photography normally, are you normally working, do you use a flash?
No.
And so this was
Flash is like something I swear against using.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't want to like, I feel like it's not really great for the artist. Like, I don't know if I would want to be on stage and have a flash in my face while I'm trying to perform.
Totally. I assumed
you
you probably didn't, because it seemed like you used the light that was there very well.
The
So
light
I
is just also like such a pretty aspect of it. The colors are so beautiful
Yeah.
and fun to work with as well.
Yeah, well, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Is this a project that you'll continue to work on and keep growing at?
I think so, definitely. I think like my dream is to go on tour with an artist and be like their photographer or videographer. But yeah, I definitely just want to keep getting better and keep expanding the like bands I've shot. Like I'll shoot like bigger shows at like CHI and like smaller shows at like Duffy's and the Zoo Bar. But like I just want to like keep going and keep getting better. And I know there's like a lot of room where I can grow as well.
Thank you, Alex. And now for our third finalist, Hannah Herrera, a sophomore ad PR and broadcasting major from Wahoo, Nebraska.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate this opportunity. My photo essay is called Crafting Community, How Second Chances Can Change the Trajectory of a Life. And my story follows LaRue Marcos. He was the very first graduate of Udalali's nonprofit program. And now through that program, he's been given the opportunity to return the favor to other members of the program. So I feel like this photo encapsulates the environment behind the doors of the kitchen. I really felt like through my eyes, this is the common theme throughout the entire place. Very community oriented, very relationship oriented. And the two gentlemen on either side of him, they are not named in the caption. And that's a common theme throughout this essay for a very specific reason. The severity of some of their crimes and the sensitivity of situations, as well as legal reasons. Some of these folks are in halfway houses or they're still dealing with their court cases. So LaRue and I decided to extend them the courtesy of leaving them anonymous. We felt that it could still empower them and tell their story without exploiting them in a way. So this is LaRue. He was the very first graduate of Oodalali's nonprofit. And a little background on him, he grew up in North Omaha, and he says he felt like he lacked identity, which is why he was ending up in the places that he was in. He was affiliated with some gang violence, which did lead to him being convicted and serving a sentence. Once he got out, he was offered the opportunity to go to Oodalali's nonprofit. They employ formerly incarcerated folks to learn the art of culinary practices, and he was given the opportunity to go there. Once he graduated, he kind of went on a journey of his own and circled back, and now he is a community director, and he helps those who are in the same situation that he was in previously. This is a photo of him and one of the program members, again, not named for sensitivity reasons. He had a heart-to-heart with this member shortly after, and I feel like the moments leading up to this photo were so beautiful because it showed that he really makes himself available to these folks, and he extends himself. He allows them to use him as a shoulder to cry on, an ear to listen, and he just wants to meet them wherever they're at. This is the pamphlet that is at every table. It kind of tells who LaRue is and what Oodalali is and expands on that a little more, and I think it bridges the gap between the patrons of the restaurant as well as the members of the program. It shows us that these people are talented, they are worthy of second chances, they are hardworking, and they are just as capable as every one of us, despite their story being a little bit different than ours. This is LaRue's workspace, and you can see a small little photograph of 3 of his children and himself. He has 7 children, and he prides himself on being a family man, and one of his biggest goals in life is to give them opportunities that he wasn't granted himself. And in his free time, he advocates for policy reform for prisons. So he kind of works with Oodalali as well as his own personal journey on improving this problem that he is within every single day. This is a moment that was shared between him and another program member, again, not named for sensitivity reasons, but I love this photo because of the split second. It's just a passing moment, and I think being able to stop and look at what that looks like is so special because it really, really shows the connection that LaRue has with these members, and it just shows the beauty of the situation. These are the steps leading up to Oodalali. It kind of goes up an alleyway and then around the entrance. And I wanted to include this photo because I feel like these steps are so symbolic of the entire process. They meet people at way different places in life. LaRue has gone up them unemployed, going just out of incarceration. He's gone up them as a program member. He's walked down them as a graduate. And now he walks up them as a director. So it's such a full circle moment. And I think that's the beauty of this story. And then finally, this is LaRue's arrow. Every graduate, once they are finished with the program, they are given an arrow, and they can kind of put their message on it as well as their name. They sign it and put it up on the wall. And it's just it's a fabulous full circle moment. Like LaRue being able to walk past that every single day as a director when he was once in the shoes of the people he's directing really shows the value of second chances. Thank you.
I always like to know the backstory. Like, how did you find this story? Also, I wasn't sure, is this located here in town, or is this?
It's located in Omaha, Nebraska, over in the Dundee area. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But coming across this, I was like ping-ponging between subjects because I was having such a hard time at finding something that really like resonated with me and I was like moved by. And I think in one of my social justice classes, we talked a lot about prison reform, and I was just so interested in it. And I was so enlightened by all of it. I was so new to it. And so I kind of just started researching. And I came across this one day and I saw that it was a nonprofit and kind of moved on. And then I revisited it because I was thinking, well, it could be like a topic, maybe I'm interested in it. And I found out that it was about formerly incarcerated folks, and I just really loved that. And I messaged the owner and I loved what he was about. And so that's kind of how that started.
Similar question, like what would you do differently photographically if you were to do this over?
Photographically, I think for the steps picture, I had a very nice picture of him coming down the steps where he was in the light, and I liked that one better, but I ended up choosing the one where he was going up the steps just because, I don't know, I liked what it symbolized a little bit more, but I would definitely put the photo of him going down the steps. I think lighting wise, it was very tough, so I think I could have done a little bit better within the kitchen. And I wish I could have got some patrons of the restaurant. That was one restriction that he gave me, but if I could do it over and I could talk to him way earlier, I think I would really try to get some patrons because I think that's valuable.
I really like the subject matter. I was like, how did this person find this story? You know, like in the, you know, this is, I had a feeling when you didn't have names, I think we said it as like maybe there was some restrictions or, and yeah, I guess I was wondering, you know, did you kind of have to talk him into letting you do this, or was he kind of like, what is this for? Or was it, you know, what was that process like?
He was very excited. I think he was excited. It was more so the people above him that were the concern. So he was very open to it, and he thought it would be a great opportunity. He's very new to the role, so I think opportunities like that, I think it really excited him, and it excited me as well. So that was actually very easy. He was very willing. The tough part was kind of like seeing whether or not the employees were okay with it, like trying to see what was going on with opinions of patrons, like just making sure everybody was okay with what I was doing and what I was trying to show. That was probably the most difficult part of it.
You did a good job.
Thank you.
What was your greatest lesson that you learned, and also do you think you'll be able to publish this, or planning on to?
Okay, I love that question. I think the biggest thing I've learned is that differences unite us. I think I could not be more far different than some of the people I met doing this story. I think the people in the kitchen could not be more different than one another. But it was so beautiful because it's such a judgment-free zone, and it's so open to interpretation from everybody that I think just that environment is so welcoming, and it really shows me that differences are what makes us strong. Diversity is what runs the world. It's what builds up people. It's what empowers us. So I think that's my biggest takeaway. Publishing it, I would love to. I would really, really love to. LaRue has been asking me about it over and over and over, like, will it get published? And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make Final Five, but I would love to publish it. I would be honored. I would probably put it together on a spread and send it to him so he could publish it, but I would love that. That would be great.
I think so too. I mean, part of the blessing of being a photographer, being allowed to be in this position is telling his story, and also you're a cog in the wheel of making a difference as he is. And so if that can go to the next level of inspiring others through your work, that would be pretty cool.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Hannah. I'd like to introduce our fourth finalist now, Michaela Maxon, a junior ad PR major from Kearney, Nebraska.
Hello, as was stated, my name is Michaela Maxon. I did my photojournalism story on the Raptor Conservation Alliance in Elmwood, Nebraska. For this project, I knew I wanted to do something with animals because it's a passion of mine, and birds, and so I found this organization, and they've been running for 50 years, and I've saved over 15,000 birds in those 50 years. It was started by Betsy, who lives on the reservation where they keep the birds, and it was really cool to see everything they do there. For this picture, it shows kind of the hopelessness that can come with this position. You can't save every bird, and Betsy and her whole team are all volunteer. She's the director, and she takes in no money. She wants all the money to go to the birds, which I thought was a really cool aspect of this location. She doesn't do it to make ends meet. She makes sure that all the birds are taken care of first. She's in here with a turkey vulture, and she's built trust with this guy over the years. So when I first walked in, we're doing an examination of this bald eagle that came in with a fractured and infected wing on the upper half. And this shows how hard it can be to care for these birds because they can't talk, they can't tell you what's wrong. So you just kind of have to figure it out, and how hopeless the birds can be. I know they can't tell you, but like the expression on its face, like you can tell like this bird is not in great condition. So unfortunately, this picture was the moment that they realized that they would have to put the bald eagle down. That you can't amputate a bald eagle's wing just because of quality of life. And so this picture really opened my heart and showed me how deep their care is for birds. They care for every single bird that comes in. Even after 15,000 birds, they still care for every single bird. And their team is so caring and welcoming, and it was really hard to watch them go through it emotionally of realizing they would have to put this bald eagle down. This golden eagle has been here for a while, and they're building up trust so that they can help the bird become well, and so it can be released. This is Devin. She's one of the vets that volunteers there. She's letting the golden eagle take lead, and so they can build that trust and hopefully be able to release the bird back to the wild where it belongs. This owl unfortunately lost its eye and won't most likely be able to release back into the wild because it won't be able to hunt and fly with the depth perception. With this photo, I wanted to show how hard it can be not to see the full image. And because of that, it can't be released back into the wild. This is Betsy. She started the organization 50 years ago because of her love and seeing the need for the care of birds in society. She, again, takes in no profit and lives on the property. It's a 7-day-a-week job. She cares for the birds every day. Also, with this photo, you see the shovel, and the bush is not unkept, but the hard work that she does, it's not an easy job. And I thought it was good to take a picture just to honor her and the work that she does. Here is a little American kestrel bird. It had a fractured foot, so they were about to send it to a different facility to get taken care of. This again shows the care that she has and all the staff that again is Devin, the vet that volunteers there. She waves goodbye to the little bird as it's being sent off. Finally, as we were standing on the porch and they were reminiscing about our time together, it was really cool to see them just look out on everything they've done and everything they plan to do. They hope to grow. Unfortunately, they do live on the property, unfortunately, because there's a problem with people going and stealing birds because they think that releasing them is the right thing to do when really they can't fly with a broken wing. And so they also do education there to help support that and teach people how to care for birds in a good way. I wanted to do this presentation because Betsy and her team and her husband Doug wake up every day and care for those who can't talk, and they speak for them when they can't talk, and they don't do it to make ends meet. They don't do it for money or any satisfaction. They just want to care for the birds, and I thought that was a really cool passion to drive your life with. Thank you.
Very nice story. Michaela, tell me a little bit about your work day then. How did you organize this, and how long were you there? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I found their organization about a year ago at one of the events they were at. And I kind of followed them on social media, but nothing crazy. And then I was looking for a story. I was like, scrolling through my photos and I saw them and I was like, yes, I want to do them. And so I went in right after at like 10:30. I stayed there until like 1-ish. I wasn't there very long because they're like an older couple. They have things to do, and they weren't gonna be with the birds all day, and so they were just gonna go into their house and stuff. So I wasn't there too long, but they showed me around their whole property. So
Yeah, I'm just curious. So when you walked in the door, this was happening
Yeah.
with the balding. I mean, I think that shows sometimes like truly like timing is everything and luck.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you obviously took the photo and you got that and you got in the door, but sometimes, boy, it really just is luck of the
Yeah.
draw when you get there and something great's
Yeah,
happening.
absolutely. And then afterwards, Doug, I remember he was like, "I'm so sorry to upset you." I was like, "Me? Like,
Yeah.
care for the bird, please." So it was
Yeah.
just like, oh, wow, you guys are really
I mean, yeah,
so caring.
it really just shows the real
Yeah,
goings
absolutely.
on of this kind of place, and I think that photo, those
Mhm.
two photos really add a lot of depth to this, where it's not just someone giving you a tour of this sanctuary. You're actually getting to like see something really going on there that obviously is really sad, but something that they deal with. So
Yeah.
that was really good.
Same question. So what's your photographic takeaway from what you would either learned or what you would do differently?
One thing I wish I was there for, they treated a lot more birds in the morning before I got there, so I kind of wish I could have seen that. I think I need to work on lighting a little bit. With some of the photos, you can kind of see that, but I think that's one thing I'm going to work on moving forward.
One thing I would offer is, I mean, I've photographed a lot of birds in different settings, and I feel like you went beyond just showing them in the setting. The saw-whet owl in particular, trying to use the medium to express beyond what is shown. So I appreciate
Thank
that
you.
aspect of your work as much as what you're showing.
Appreciate
I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to commend you on the work. The photos are beautiful. The owl, the eagle. I just felt so sad for him. And I would have been like trying to pet him, but I know you're not supposed to do that. But I just wanted to commend you on your work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to say the same. And do you think you'll go back and try to do more and publish this, or is this the end?
Yeah, I would love to send them all the photos I took, because they don't have necessarily a lot of media, and so I just want to give this organization everything, just give them the photos. And yeah.
Thank you, Michaela. And for our final finalist, we have Amanda Yuan, who is a junior broadcasting major from Omaha, Nebraska.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amanda Yuan, as stated. I have been very excited to work on this year's Perry Photojournalism Challenge alongside my co-JMC peers. I believe that photojournalism is extremely important, especially as a broadcasting major minoring in film studies, because I think practicing journalism in every medium, including photography, will help me build my skills and work towards my dream of becoming a documentary filmmaker. I did my story on Clifton Hobbs, who is a devoted husband, father of 5, and pastor and therapist. Clifton is, sorry. When I got to find out about Clifton, I learned enough to make me think that he was a perfect fit for this year's theme, Making a Difference. When I went to visit his church in Bellevue, I learned that he also was opening a counseling office in Lincoln. This photo, he is checking the time, which I think is very fitting for the opener because it shows where his headspace is usually at during the week. He graciously granted me the honor of his only day off being Saturday. So I got to visit his office, and basically when he's checking his watch, it's kind of saying like, where do I have to go and where do I need to be? Alongside Clifton is his wife, Brandy. And when I think of Clifton and Brandy, I think of a team. Brandy is not only Clifton's wife, but she is also the office manager at both his Bellevue and Lincoln offices. When I got to work with Clifton on this project, I got to experience many special moments, whether it be sharing a laugh, cleaning up each other's shared spaces, or just sharing a laugh like best friends. Here we have Clifton organizing the computer cords in his office. This day was actually very special because he was unpacking supplies for his Lincoln office. He decided to expand his counseling services from Bellevue to Lincoln after realizing that there was a demand for more Black therapists. And so this location is actually, interestingly, one of 5 of the previous buildings that used to serve as the Glory Tabernacle, which is the church that Clifton started. And this building specifically actually used to be a Burger King. But after talking more to Brandy and Clifton about this building, I found out that they used to run a food pantry and clothing drive, doing up to 200 orders a week through this building. In this image, Clifton is hosting an impromptu Bible study with his wife, his son Caleb, his daughter Shaylee, and their friends Shane, Gabby, and Andrea. I really like the way that it's framed by the coffee ceiling and walls because it feels like a picture that you can kind of step into and join the group at any time. This is a portrait I took of Clifton. I actually had a really hard time deciding which one to use because there was many moments like this where he was just full of joy, throwing his head back in laughter and making jokes with the Bible study group. And this is kind of another angle of the Bible study. I liked the expressions on the faces that are pictured because they're very relaxed, and I like that the food is seen in the photo because it kind of shows that it communicates in the photo that there's no rush when they're hanging out, and that these faith-based conversations can be casual. And then this is the ending prayer after a meeting. This is his son Caleb and him locking hands, and it's kind of a nice little tradition that they have whenever they say goodbye. I really like this. This is my personal favorite because I was just kind of taking pictures around the church and getting little details. And after reviewing the photos, I felt this one emotionally because the longer that you look at it, the more that you feel the difference that Clifton has made in his congregation, in his community, and in his family. And then this last picture I took while Clifton was just taking a quick rest because I made him stand and walk and show me things all day. But yeah, I like it because he sat in the seats for his church service, which would be taking place less than 12 hours after the photo is taken, with people singing and dancing and enjoying live music as well as his preaching. Oh, that's it. Anyways, I appreciate you guys for your time, and yeah, thank you so much for reviewing my work and giving me a much needed critique.
If you have been invited, or do you plan to do any more with this, specifically on Sunday service or anything, or have you already done that?
Yeah, so I was very interested in capturing the Sunday service because I definitely heard that it's really fun. I mean, people get up and dance and sing, and there's live music. So it seems like I'm really missing out, and I'm sad that this wasn't on a Sunday so I could record that. But yeah, they do a live stream. So since I'm in a live streaming class right now, I was planning on maybe potentially helping out with that and gaining more experience in that field.
It definitely seems like, I mean, with his, what appears to be his personality, it seems like it'd be amazing to be at church with him.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, I was wondering when you found this, or like how you, and sorry, I don't think you said that, did you? How you found them?
No, Clifton was actually the father of one of my acquaintances, one of my coworkers, and after hearing that he started his own church, I was endlessly interested in how that came to be. He ended up sharing that they started the church in his living room, and so the 5 other locations that followed were kind of just a result of their growing congregation, and that's why I feel like this photo is very important to be in the.
I just feel like it's, we talked earlier about like, technically this was a day where like a lot of the things that he does weren't happening.
Yeah.
But you still managed to make something out of it. So I think you did a really good job.
Thank you.
Same question. Maybe slightly differently, but if you were to do this again tomorrow or next week better, what would you do differently?
So I would have loved to have some night shots, possibly following them to dinner. Unfortunately, they had an event that they were attending that night, so I couldn't stay that long. But maybe some more moments with Brandy that weren't in the office, because I wanted to capture his familial life as well. But it ended up being mostly his work life, which I still think turned out well, but I would have loved to see some of that more intimate family connection.
What would it take to make that happen?
Like
To be able to be in that situation?
to be in the dinner?
Yeah.
I'd probably have to ask them. The situation, the day that I was following them, didn't work out for that. But yeah, maybe coming back later. It was kind of a scheduling conflict since I took most of the photos in Bellevue, so it was kind of a bit farther from Lincoln, and I couldn't really make that commute twice.
You had some really, really nice photos here. I felt like really connected to Clifton. You did a really good job with that. The other thing I wanted to say to you is that you had some really good captions, and having quotes at the end of, I don't remember what picture it was, but it was maybe 3 or 4 back. Just let me connect with him even more. Like this one here, the quote at the end, I enjoy this more than I do church. There was something he said about his wife I thought was really sweet, impactful. The one question I have for you, when you're taking notes on assignment, this is like a simple question. Are you using a notebook? Are you using a recording device? What did you do to get those good quotes?
So if I was sitting down and interviewing him, I would use my voice memo app and just kind of set it in front of us and try to record as much as I could. And if it's me taking photos and like when we were at the Bible study and I was capturing and couldn't record at the same time, I would take out my phone and write a short quote that he said that really resonated with me. So yeah, it's mostly just my phone that I record things with.
All right. Let's get one more round of applause for our amazing finalists and their impactful stories. Thank you. So now I would like to excuse the judges to room 29 for food and final judging. You can exit out those doors and grab a plate of grub and then do your thing. And then after they get their food, guests feel free to go get some food. Like I said, leave out that door and feel free to mingle. For those that are watching via our broadcast, please enjoy the videos created by our Broadcasting 369 class. Yeah, thank you guys.
I'm a staff photographer at the Los Angeles Times. I've been here for almost 29 years, and we cover just about every topic you can think of. Traveling a little bit to Indonesia, Costa Rica, and Mexico, but mainly around California and sometimes the nation, but mainly around Southern California. Drive to many different cities every day, covering a variety of topics, and just love it. Never know where I'm going to be, what I'm going to learn, and who I'm going to meet. I grew up in Seward, out in a small farm, and I got into photography probably through the Photography Merit Badge and Boy Scouts, and basically just been curious a lot. I was quite an introvert, and photography and journalism got me out of my bubble all the time, and it still does to this day. And very thankful for that, and always learning. Went on to college, to the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, studied journalism, and worked at the Daily Nebraskan, and graduated in 1993. Just before that, I did 4 internships. Started off in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and then to Wichita, Kansas, then Dallas Morning News and the Detroit Free Press. Also took a trip to India for a semester. Got called up for the Gulf War. I was a journalist with a history unit in Omaha, and we got called up for the Gulf War, and I missed my internship in Wichita that summer, but they luckily held on to it, and so that kind of prolonged my college career, but worked out great. And so it was about a 7-year path with all those things. Just be curious, be excited to learn, always ask questions, always be able to approach people, ask why, ask how, enjoy the experiences that you have. Whether it's something small, you never know the impact that you have, even though it may be an assignment that you're not particularly fond of, but it means something to somebody, and it may be in their scrapbook for the rest of their life. So everything has meaning and purpose. Realize that you are an important instrument in telling this person's story, and they're getting their image and documenting their life. Try to learn from others as much as possible. I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all the amazing photographers that took me under their wing along the way, from way back in high school, every step of the way, from my internships, all the amazing photographers, editors, and fellow reporters have all helped me out, and I'm here to give back and hopefully help the next generation move on and do great things.
My name is Brianna Sokup. I'm a photojournalist at the Portland Press Herald in Portland, Maine. Originally from Nebraska, born and raised in Omaha, and I went to the journalism school at UNL, where I graduated in, I think, 2014. I was interested as a child. I remember in elementary school showing an interest in photography after seeing a Dorothea Lange photo book that my art teacher had. And then I kind of forgot about it. And in high school, I took a film photo class at OPS's Career Center. So every day I got to go downtown and do 2 hours in a photo class and learn how to take photos and print them in the dark room, and that kind of reignited something. And then at UNL, I was an art major for a while. That didn't really stick. And then in the journalism school, I discovered photojournalism and realized that was something I could pursue. So I took a class my junior year and never looked back after that. I think a good photograph should tell you something. I think it should make you feel something, and I think it should tell you something. I think it should tell you something about the person, the place, the situation, and I feel like it should invoke some sort of response from a person. If it's a photo of a cold winter scene, I feel like you should be like, wow, that looks cold. You should feel that in the mood or the light or the, everything. So I think a good photo makes you feel something. I think I'll be judging these photos really off of the creative content. Like, is the photo telling me something? Is it interesting? Can I see what the person was going for? Like, can I see what the photographer was seeing? Can I see their style or their eye stand out in the photo? Um, Not looking for perfection or anything like that, but definitely looking for someone who is really seeing, and taking photos that reflect that. For beginning photographers, I think it's really the classic advice that I feel like everyone gets told. It's just take a bunch of pictures. Just take a lot of photos. It doesn't have to be something really dramatic. It can be like, I think a good story can be so many things. There are stories everywhere. And I think you just have to take as many photos as you can because, like, that's the only way you learn. I think the most rewarding thing about photography is, for me, it's not really the photos. I mean, I love photography. I love taking the photos, but I think it's really the connections that a photographer can make with the people that they're photographing. I think photography gives you a way in to so many different corners of the world and into so many different people's lives, and that is such a gift. I have probably gained more from photography than from many other things in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. I think I have connected with all kinds of people that otherwise I would have never met. And so it's a pretty beautiful thing.
Hello, I'm Kara Owsley. I'm the Director of Photography and Photojournalist at the Cincinnati Enquirer. I've been in the business for 30 years. I graduated from Western Kentucky University with a bachelor's in photojournalism. So I've been in Cincinnati the longest. Cincinnati Enquirer had an opening and they hired me, and I've been here ever since. So it's 20 years this month. I would be judging the photos based on a blend of storytelling, technical execution, and emotional impact. And if it's just pleasing to my eye, if it's something that I like, that grabs my attention, those are the first things I look for. And subject matter, of course. I'm looking forward to seeing how people see the world through their lens. Every photographer sees things differently. The best photos pull you in and make you feel like I was there. It can be a wide variety of things. It could be a sports image that grabs my attention as well. My personal photography style would say from covering different things in the community. Weather and sports are probably my two favorite. I love being in the moment and just seeing what falls literally sometimes right in front of me. For me, the reward is knowing that I've captured a moment that matters to someone. And it doesn't have to be something like a great sports action photo. It can be like the little quiet moments. For one event that I covered was the eclipse of 2024. Ohio got great views of the eclipse. It was difficult, but it was so rewarding once I captured some of my favorite photos from last year. My biggest advice is to shoot as much as you can. Master what camera you have. Keep shooting, like practice. Don't spend a ton of money on equipment. That does not make you a better photographer. Your skill set makes you a better photographer.
I'm Robert Cohen. I'm one of 6 staff photographers here at the newspaper, and I've been at the Post-Dispatch for, I guess, 23 years in May, and have been at this for 35 years or so as, as a working professional in the business. And one of my first jobs was in Hollywood, Florida, at a paper that no longer exists, but I worked with one of the greatest photo editors I've ever met, and by the name of Mark Edelson, who passed about 9 years ago now. But the way he described photography and the way he described photos was that, that words made you think, but photos made you feel. And that's the criteria I'm looking for when I help judge the Perry Photo Challenge. Give me some emotion, give me something to feel, make me happy, make me sad, make me wince or giggle or something like that. Those are the kind of images that I'm going to be looking for as I judge the competition. So I've been doing this now for, like I said, about 35 years at large newspapers, at small newspapers, and I've built a relatively large body of work and work that I look at every so often and kind of see, what's next. But there are a group of photographs that will always be dear to me and that I will hold close, somewhat because they're important to me, but they're also work that I'm known for better or for worse. Google my name and Google St. Louis, and you will immediately see photographs from Ferguson, Missouri from 2014 that were taken after the police shooting of Michael Brown. Among that bunch of photos, of thousands of photos, probably one of the most important photos that I've been known for is a photograph of Edward Crawford. Edward was a kind of a first-time protester, and I just happened to be there at the right time when early one morning at a police standoff, Edward picked up a flaming tear gas canister and threw it back toward police. He was arrested and he was charged, but that photograph itself just took off and was extremely well known. Within 24 hours on the streets in Ferguson, I was at the Michael Brown Memorial, and for the first time I saw a man wearing a t-shirt that had the photo of Ed Crawford on it. And within hours people were selling different versions of these t-shirts. For whatever reason, people had a need. It spoke to them. It represented the resistance in the protest, and people had a need to replicate it. I had all kinds of images of artwork sent to me. Some people got it tattooed on their arm or on their leg or across their chest. It was pretty remarkable to see. It was also on the sides of buildings in Massachusetts, also in like 5 stories tall in New Orleans. And so it's a photo that I'm proud to have taken. Unfortunately, it's a photo that was only taken because of the death of a teenager. But it is a photo that I've been known for. I would encourage, if you're interested in photography as a career, obviously there's many different ways to take it. If you feel that journalism is the right thing for you, then I would encourage just working really hard and getting up early when you know you're going to photograph something under really nice light. Go to whatever you're going to photograph. Go early in the morning. Stay late after the event is over. Keep looking for things. They talk about working the edges of photography and working scenes and bringing back pictures that aren't necessarily the obvious or the easy. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of planning, takes a whole lot of luck sometimes. But I would encourage everyone out there, pursue whatever works for you. Pursue whatever dreams you have. Journalism is an extremely difficult industry right now. There are not that many jobs. It's certainly the newspaper journalists. There aren't a whole lot of us left. Yet the news still needs to be told. The pictures still need to be made. And good luck to everybody along the way. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Davis. It's really been nice to be with you today, especially back at UNL. I graduated from the J School in 1981 with a dual major in news editing and Spanish. This was after 4 years in the Air Force, where I worked on base newspapers. I grew up in Tekamah, Nebraska. The critical thing was the decision to go into the Air Force, and then a second decision was in picking which job to do there. I chose base newspapers. So I wrote on 3 different newspaper staffs in the Air Force. I expressed interest, made another choice, and ended up after grad school becoming the picture editor at the Albuquerque Tribune, where we did amazing work. Got national, international recognition. I won picture editor of the year a couple times. The staff was it was only 4 people. It was a circulation 36,000. National Geographic saw that work, and I was approached to go work for them, did that for a few years, and became the design director at the Detroit Free Press for about 3 years. Then moving on from there, I was offered an opportunity in Chicago to lead a visual staff of 36 at Sun Publications, owned by Copley. Somebody I had hired at the Albuquerque Tribune became President George W. Bush's photographer. Eric Draper called me and said, "Hey, you want to come work at the White House?" So I did, and did that for 4 years, watched 9/11 unfold, did some amazing work with Eric and the rest of the staff. I wrote a book about essentially pulling together everything I've come to understand about the profession and the idea of crafting narratives visually. It's called Creating Visual Narratives Through Photography. After retiring from Syracuse, I returned full-time to working with photographers directly, and editing projects is my primary focus. And then I've continued my own photography anew by creating a project back in my hometown, sort of coming full circle. I'm calling it a time capsule in reverse, and that I'm connecting with things that make me think, remember, pause, ponder of what it was like to live there when I was growing up, and try to make connections and see what has changed and see what has remained the same. Finally, I would say that it's up to each of you to define your own path into the profession, and that takes effort on your part. Don't expect others to help you, point you there, make it happen for you. It's only going to happen if you do, and you will achieve to the level of your abilities and your efforts, your energy that you put into yourself. This is a profession that's sort of a gift to each of us who are able to make a living in it. It's so magical, so amazing, but it comes at a price. You have to give 100% all the time.
Hello, my name is Alan Shaban. I'm a staff photographer at the Los Angeles Times. I've been here for almost 29 years, and we cover just about every topic you can think of. Traveling a little bit to Indonesia, Costa Rica, and Mexico, but mainly around California and sometimes the nation, but mainly around Southern California. Drive to many different cities every day, covering a variety of topics, and just love it. Never know where I'm going to be, what I'm going to learn, and who I'm going to meet. I grew up in Seward, out in a small farm, and I got into photography probably through the Photography Merit Badge and Boy Scouts, and basically just been curious a lot. I was quite an introvert, and photography and journalism got me out of my bubble all the time, and it still does to this day. And very thankful for that, and always learning. Went on to college, to the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, studied journalism, and worked at the Daily Nebraskan, and graduated in 1993. Just before that, I did 4 internships. Started off in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and then to Wichita, Kansas, then Dallas Morning News and the Detroit Free Press. Also took a trip to India for a semester. Got called up for the Gulf War. I was a journalist with a history unit in Omaha, and we got called up for the Gulf War, and I missed my internship in Wichita that summer, but they luckily held on to it, and so that kind of prolonged my college career, but worked out great. And so it was about a 7-year path with all those things. Just be curious, be excited to learn, always ask questions. Always be able to approach people, ask why, ask how, enjoy the experiences that you have. Whether it's something small, you never know the impact that you have, even though it may be an assignment that you're not particularly fond of, but it means something to somebody, and it may be in their scrapbook for the rest of their life. So everything has meaning and purpose. Realize that you are an important instrument in telling this person's story, and they're getting their image and documenting their life. Try to learn from others as much as possible. I definitely wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all the amazing photographers that took me under their wing along the way, from way back in high school, every step of the way, from my internships, all the amazing photographers, editors, and fellow reporters have all helped me out, and I'm here to give back and hopefully help the next generation move on and do great things.
My name is Brianna Sokup. I'm a photojournalist at the Portland Press Herald in Portland, Maine. Originally from Nebraska, born and raised in Omaha, and I went to the journalism school at UNL, where I graduated in, I think, 2014. I was interested as a child. I remember in elementary school showing an interest in photography after seeing a Dorothea Lange photo book that my art teacher had. And then I kind of forgot about it. And in high school, I took a film photo class at OPS's Career Center. So every day I got to go downtown and do 2 hours in a photo class and learn how to take photos and print them in the dark room, and that kind of reignited something. And then at UNL, I was an art major for a while. That didn't really stick. And then in the journalism school, I discovered photojournalism and realized that was something I could pursue. So I took a class my junior year and never looked back after that. I think a good photograph should tell you something. I think it should make you feel something, and I think it should tell you something. I think it should tell you something about the person, the place, the situation, and I feel like it should invoke some sort of response from a person. If it's a photo of a cold winter scene, I feel like you should be like, wow, that looks cold. You should feel that in the mood or the light or the, everything. So I think a good photo makes you feel something. I think I'll be judging these photos really off of the creative content. Like, is the photo telling me something? Is it interesting? Can I see what the person was going for? Like, can I see what the photographer was seeing? Can I see their style or their eye stand out in the photo? Um, Not looking for perfection or anything like that, but definitely looking for someone who is really seeing, and taking photos that reflect that. For beginning photographers, I think it's really the classic advice that like I feel like everyone gets told is just like take a bunch of pictures, just take a lot of photos. It doesn't have to be something really dramatic. It can be like I think a good story can be so many things. There are stories everywhere, and I think you just have to take as many photos as you can because like that's the only way you learn. I think the most rewarding thing about photography is, for me, it's not really the photos. I mean, I love photography. I love taking the photos, but I think it's really the connections that a photographer can make with the people that they're photographing. I think photography gives you a way in to so many different corners of the world and into so many different people's lives, and that is such a gift. I have probably gained more from photography than from many other things in my life. And I'm so grateful for that. I think I have connected with all kinds of people that otherwise I would have never met. And so it's a pretty beautiful thing.
Hello, I'm Kara Owsley. I'm the Director of Photography and Photojournalist at the Cincinnati Enquirer. I've been in the business for 30 years. I graduated from Western Kentucky University with a bachelor's in photojournalism. So I've been in Cincinnati the longest. Cincinnati Enquirer had an opening and they hired me, and I've been here ever since. So it's 20 years this month. I will be judging the photos based on a blend of storytelling, technical execution, and emotional impact. And if it's just pleasing to my eye, if it's something that I like, that grabs my attention, those are the first things I look for. And subject matter, of course. I'm looking forward to seeing how people see the world through their lens. Every photographer sees things differently. The best photos pull you in and make you feel like I was there. It can be a wide variety of things. It could be a sports image that grabs my attention as well. My personal photography style would say from covering different things in the community. Weather and sports are probably my two favorite. I love being in the moment and just seeing what falls literally sometimes right in front of me. For me, the reward is knowing that I've captured a moment that matters to someone. And it doesn't have to be something like a great sports action photo. It can be like the little quiet moments. For one event that I covered was the eclipse of 2024. Ohio got great views of the eclipse. It was difficult, but it was so rewarding once I captured some of my favorite photos from last year. My biggest advice is to shoot as much as you can. Master what camera you have. Keep shooting, like practice. Don't spend a ton of money on equipment. That does not make you a better photographer. Your skill set makes you a better photographer.
I'm Robert Cohen. I'm one of 6 staff photographers here at the newspaper, and I've been at the Post-Dispatch for, I guess, 23 years in May, and have been at this for 35 years or so as, as a working professional in the business. And one of my first jobs was in Hollywood, Florida, at a paper that no longer exists, but I worked with one of the greatest photo editors I've ever met, and by the name of Mark Edelson, who passed about 9 years ago now. But the way he described photography and the way he described photos was that, that words made you think, but photos made you feel. And that's the criteria I'm looking for when I help judge the Perry Photo Challenge. Give me some emotion, give me something to feel, make me happy, make me sad, make me wince or giggle or something like that. Those are the kind of images that I'm going to be looking for as I judge the competition. So I've been doing this now for, like I said, about 35 years at large newspapers, at small newspapers, and I've built a relatively large body of work and work that I look at every so often and kind of see, you know, what's next. But there are a group of photographs that will always be dear to me and that I will hold close, somewhat because they're important to me, but they're also work that I'm known for better or for worse. You know, Google my name and Google St. Louis, and you will immediately see photographs from Ferguson, Missouri from 2014 that were taken after the police shooting of Michael Brown. Among that bunch of photos, of thousands of photos, probably one of the most important photos that I've been known for is a photograph of Edward Crawford. Edward was a kind of a first-time protester, and I just happened to be there at the right time when early one morning at a police standoff, Edward picked up a flaming tear gas canister and threw it back toward police. He was arrested and he was charged, but that photograph itself just took off and was extremely well known. Within 24 hours on the streets in Ferguson, I was at the Michael Brown Memorial, and for the first time I saw a man wearing a t-shirt that had the photo of Ed Crawford on it. And you know, within hours people were selling different versions of these t-shirts. For whatever reason, people had a need. It spoke to them. It represented the resistance in the protest, and people had a need to replicate it. I had all kinds of images of artwork sent to me. Some people got it tattooed on their arm or on their leg or across their chest. It was pretty remarkable to see. It was also on the sides of buildings in Massachusetts, also in like 5 stories tall in New Orleans. And so it's a photo that I'm proud to have taken. Unfortunately, it's a photo that was only taken because of the death of a teenager. But it is a photo that I've been known for. I would encourage, if you're interested in photography as a career, obviously there's many different ways to take it. If you feel that journalism is the right thing for you, then I would encourage just working really hard and you know, getting up early when you know you're going to photograph something under really nice light. Go to whatever you're going to photograph. Go early in the morning. Stay late after the event is over. Keep looking for things. You know, they talk about working the edges of photography and working scenes and bringing back pictures that aren't necessarily the obvious or the easy. Takes a lot of time, takes a lot of planning, takes a whole lot of luck sometimes. But I would encourage everyone out there, you know, pursue whatever works for you. Pursue whatever dreams you have. Journalism is an extremely difficult industry right now. There are not that many jobs. It's you know, certainly the newspaper journalists, there aren't a whole lot of us left. Yet the news still needs to be told. The pictures still need to be made. And good luck to everybody along the way. Thanks.
Welcome back, everybody. Now we would like to introduce Interim Dean of the College of Journalism and Mass Communications, as well as Associate Professor of Advertising and Public Relations, Adam Wagler.
Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Hayden and Skylar. They're doing an awesome job. So I really appreciate the class doing the streaming here. I did want to take a few moments to thank our judges. You guys have done an amazing job. I know it's been a long day, but hopefully it's been rewarding. I think the students' work, I think is a lot of fun to look at. And I think those that may not be aware, all the students that participated in the challenge got really fabulous feedback from our judges this year. And I think that's just a testament to the time and effort and care that you took to kind of look through all the students' work. So can we give our judges a round of applause for their time? So thank you. So this is the 7th year of the Perry Photo Challenge, and I do want to take a moment because we've already kind of mentioned him already, but the benefactor of the Perry Challenge is Mr. Phil Perry. I think the interesting thing about him, and I just got to meet him for the first time earlier this week, but he's not a graduate of our college, so he has really no obligation or no direct connection other than he just believes in the mission of the college, of the students, photojournalism, and the power that can have in storytelling. So he believes in the students and the future of journalism, and he's invested in this challenge for that reason. So it gives you an opportunity and the tools to succeed, and I think every year we've seen students rise to that challenge. So I do want to offer my sincerest thanks to Phil for this competition because it wouldn't be possible without his generosity and support. The Perry Challenge rewards those students who demonstrate the same qualities that has made Phil Perry so successful: hard work, determination, and creative problem solving. So we are proud to see all the finalists that kind of reflect those qualities along with the unique skills that the experience to tell a story to make a difference. And I think all 5 stories were really just interesting to see how fear, music, I loved hearing how coming out of the social justice class kind of inspired some work, and conservation and counseling. All those, I think, obviously make a big difference to the community that we live in. So it was great to see the stories. So it's been my pleasure to kind of see the competition unfold and truly impressed by the work that you guys put into your stories. I think it's a testament to what you're able to accomplish in a very short amount of time, because it is literally a challenge, right? So can we please give another round of applause for all the finalists? All right. So can I invite all the finalists up to the stage, and we'll kind of make the announcements. So. All right, so thank you all again for competing. This is, I know, a long day, but in 3rd place with the $1,500 scholarship is Alex Grzanowski. It's close. Music brings Lincolnites of all ages together, uplifts local voices. Congratulations. All right. In 2nd place is Brady Cornelius with Cookies, Chicken, Connection, Volunteers, Neighbors at Matt Talbot. All right. And then our 1st place winner with the $5,000 scholarship and the winner of the 2026 Perry Photo Challenge is Michaela Maxson, Hands to Feathers, Rescuing Raptors Across Nebraska. Congratulations. And our finalist, or our winner, will have a second to say a few words too. So.
Thank you, judges. I really appreciate it. I was not expecting this. That's crazy. Thank you, Phil Perry, for giving all of us this opportunity. It was really awesome to hear all the judges' remarks on all the photos and all the faculty and staff that put this on. It was a great opportunity. So thank you.
All right. Congratulations, guys. Let's get one more big round of applause for everybody standing up here. We saw some wonderful, wonderful photos today. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you again to our contestants, our judges, and Scholarship and Student Success Committee, and most importantly, thank you to Mr. Phil Perry. Thanks everyone for joining us for the 7th annual Perry Photo Challenge.
Can I say something?
Of course.
Being in this space, having been in your positions a couple of years ago, I hope you appreciate how hard it is what you have just done. And to do any story is difficult, but to do it with a camera requires a greater level of degree of getting people comfortable with you, of getting yourself comfortable with the medium, of understanding what it is you're trying to say. It is in a lot of ways the most difficult thing to accomplish in a narrative. So I just want to applaud what you have all done by stepping out ahead of everybody and making this effort. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was a wonderful way to end this. Thank you, everybody. This was the Perry Photo Challenge, and good night.